Some of the most carefully crafted songs in history never found an audience. Meanwhile, a handful of artists recorded tracks they considered throwaways, gags, or outright embarrassments. And those songs topped the charts anyway. These are the 12 joke songs that accidentally became huge hits. Number 12. They're Coming to Take Me Away, Ha Ha by Napoleon XIV.
Remember when you ran away and I got on my knees and begged you not to leave because...
Working as a recording engineer at Associated Recording Studios in New York, Jerry Samuels concocted a novelty record under the made-up name Napoleon XIV in 1966. The song had no melody, no harmonies, just a marching drum beat and a narrator gleefully descending into madness.
You see, I've gone completely out of my mind. And they're coming to take me away.
Samuels himself called it a recitation, not a song, and never expected it to leave the studio. It debuted on the Billboard Hot 100 on July 17, 1966, rocketed to number 3, and simultaneously hit number 1 on the Cashbox chart.
Young men in their clean white coats and they're coming to take me away.
The B-side of the single was the A-side played completely in reverse, titled with the song's name spelled backward, a cult curiosity of its own. Radio stations began pulling the record off playlists, citing its subject matter, which cut short what might have been an even longer chart run. The single sold over 1 million copies in the United States alone.
Take me away, ho ho hee hee, ha ha, to the happy home with trees and flowers and chirping birds and basket.
Number 11. My Ding-a-Ling by Chuck Berry.
She told me it was my ding-a-ling-a-ling, oh.
The man who wrote Johnny B. Good and Roll Over Beethoven spent years chasing a United States #1 single without ever landing one.
I was a little bitty boy. My grandmother bought me a cute little toy.
In February 1972, a live recording captured at the Lanchester Arts Festival in Coventry, England, changed everything. Built around a childhood double entendre toy bell song, the recording caught a rowdy crowd singing along to every chorus. Chuck Berry's only #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 was not a rock anthem. It was a cheeky joke sing-along, and he rode it straight to the top in October 1972. Many radio stations refused to play it, citing the obvious innuendo, while Berry cashed the royalty checks without apology. It outsold nearly everything else in his catalog. Number 10. Disco Duck by Rick Dees. At WMPS-AM in Memphis, Morning D. Rick Dees watched the disco craze sweep the country and decided the whole thing was ripe for mockery.
Went to a party the other night. All the ladies would treat me right.
He wrote a song about a man transforming into a disco-dancing duck, finishing it in a single day at his apartment. Producer Bobby Manuel, a former Stax Records session guitarist, laid down the track.
On the dance floor acting strange. Flapping my arms, I began to cluck.
The song sold over 6 million copies, won a People's Choice Award, and hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 on October 16, 1976. The twist is what happened at his own station. WMPS management forbade Dees from even playing the record on air, fearing a conflict of interest. When he casually mentioned one morning that the song was about to hit #1, his station manager fired him on the spot. 5 days later, Disco Duck reached the top of the charts. Number 9. Monster Mash by Bobby Boris Pickett.
It was a graveyard smash. It caught on enough.
An aspiring actor doing Boris Karloff impressions at nightclub gigs, Bobby Pickett teamed up with singer Leonard Capizzi in May 1962 to build a novelty song around his Karloff voice. They recorded it as a spoof of popular dance crazes with producer Gary S. Paxton and a session group credited as the Crypt Kickers.
Late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight.
Every major label passed. Paxton's small Garpax Records released the single in August 1962. 6 weeks later, it knocked the Four Seasons Sherry from the #1 spot and held that position for 2 weeks, just before Halloween.
The ghouls all came from their humble abode to get her killed from my electrode.
Elvis Presley reportedly heard the song and called it the stupidest thing he had ever heard. Pickett later quipped that he doubted Elvis even knew who Boris Karloff was. As of 2023, the song was still generating $1 million annually in royalties.
It caught on in a flash. He did the monster mash.
Number 8, Short People by Randy Newman.
Short people got no reason. Short people got no...
More than 15 years into his Hollywood songwriting career, Randy Newman had never landed a genuine pop hit of his own. Short People, from his 1977 album Little Criminals, was intended as pointed satire on prejudice, written from the perspective of a bigoted narrator.
They got little hands, little eyes. They walk around telling great...
Newman was stunned when listeners took every word at face value. It became his first and only top 10 hit, reaching number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 in early 1978. The backlash was extraordinary. Maryland State Delegate Isaiah Dixon attempted to introduce legislation making it illegal to play the song on the radio, only to be told by the state attorney general that doing so would violate the First Amendment.
Short people are just the same as you and I.
Newman later compared its success to a novelty record, describing it as a bad break. The man behind celebrated film scores is still primarily remembered by millions of casual fans for a joke he never meant anyone to take seriously. Number 7, The Streak by Ray Stevens. In early 1974, a bizarre fad was sweeping American college campuses. Students were stripping naked and running through public spaces in a craze that became known as streaking.
Of his anatomy, he gonna give us a peek.
Ray Stevens, already known for his satirical comedy records, heard about it and immediately sat down to write the most topical song he could produce. He expected the fad to last a few weeks and the song to vanish with it. Instead, the streak hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in May 1974. Becoming one of the biggest novelty hits of the entire decade.
Oh, yes, they call him the Streak. He likes to turn...
Stevens had charted throughout the 1960s with records like Ahab the Arab and Guitarzon. But no song in his entire career matched the commercial ceiling of a quick turnaround joke about a fleeting fad. The streak reached number 1 in the United Kingdom and Canada, turning an American campus craze into a genuine international pop moment.
Making the news, wearing just his tennis shoes, guess you could call him unique.
Number 6, Shut Up You Face by Joe Dolce.
Why you looking so sad? It's a not so bad. It's a nicer place. Shut
An American-born actor and musician living in Australia, Joe Dolce wrote a character comedy song built around the voice of an exasperated Italian immigrant named Giuseppe.
thing I got to do. I can't get no kicks. Got to follow the stupid rules.
Dolce recorded it cheaply, released it in Australia, and watched in disbelief as it climbed the charts. Shut Up You Face hit number 1 in Australia and then crossed to the United Kingdom, where it spent 3 weeks at the top of the singles chart in early 1981.
Got no respect. What do you think you do? Why you looking so sad?
In a pop trivia footnote that still irritates music fans, it was the song that blocked Ultravox and their art rock anthem Vienna from ever reaching number 1 in the UK.
Then they make a TV shows. Hi, Mom. Get a new car. But still I be myself. I never...
Dolce's joke record outsold Vienna for weeks. It went on to top charts across more than a dozen countries, making it one of the most internationally successful novelty songs of the entire decade.
Some attitude. Got no respect. What do you think you do? Why you...
Number 5, Surfin' Bird by the Trashmen.
I went to every everybody's heard.
Drummer Steve Warrer of the Minneapolis garage band The Trashmen mashed together two existing Rivington's novelty songs during a live gig in 1963, adding a chaotic middle section entirely on the spot. Local disc jockey Bill Deal was in the crowd, convinced them to record it, and the band cut the track at K-Bank Studios in Minneapolis. It entered the Billboard Hot 100 in late 1963 and peaked at number 4 in January 1964. In the very same week, the Beatles made their first top 10 appearance on the chart at number 3. Surfin' Bird was parked right below them at number 4. Dick Clark introduced Warrer on American Bandstand by calling it one of the most strange and unusual sounds of the year. The Trashmen never replicated that success, but the single became one of the most enduring artifacts of the era on the strength of 2 minutes of pure calculated chaos. Number 4. I'm Too Sexy by Wright, said Fred. Brothers Richard and Fred Fairbrass were part-time musicians in London when they wrote I'm Too Sexy in 1991 as a deliberate act of self-mockery aimed at the vain male models they kept encountering around the city. They found the whole premise so absurd, they nearly did not release it. The single spent 3 consecutive weeks at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in February 1992. The Fairbrass brothers had spent very little money recording it. The song became one of the most recognizable tracks of the entire decade, covered and referenced for years afterward. Its melody was interpolated into Taylor Swift's Look What You Made Me Do in 2017, introducing the joke to an entirely new generation. Right Said Fred went from a throwaway mockery of male vanity to a permanent fixture in pop culture history.
Too sexy for my love, too sexy for my love, love's going to leave me.
Number 3. Pac-Man Fever by Buckner and Garcia.
Have a lot of money, but I'm bringing everything I made.
Atlanta area jingle writers Jerry Buckner and Gary Garcia wrote a song about Pac-Man in 1981 purely for their own amusement, with no commercial intent whatsoever. A local Atlanta radio station played it as a novelty segment. CBS Records heard it, signed the duo immediately, and gave it a full national release. Pac-Man Fever peaked at number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100 in March 1982, and the album was certified gold by the RIAA. Buckner and Garcia had spent their careers writing 30-second advertising jingles and suddenly found themselves on television doing promotional tours. No follow-up came close to that success. The song remains the defining musical artifact of the early video game era, still licensed for documentaries and retrospective programming decades later. Number 2. Alley Oop by the Hollywood Argyles. In 1960, songwriter Dallas Frazier wrote a novelty track based on the comic strip caveman Alley Oop, a syndicated cartoon running since 1932. Producer Gary S. Paxton assembled a loose group of Los Angeles session musicians and billed them under the invented name the Hollywood Argyles, pulled from 2 nearby street names. Nobody involved expected commercial success. Alley Oop hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in July 1960, outselling everything in the country during the early summer. The Hollywood Argyles never charted again. Paxton, who went on to a long career in rock production, considered the song one of the most accidental successes of his life. A caveman joke built around a Sunday comic strip had beaten every serious artist in the country to the top of the charts.
Monsters get on their knees.
Number 1. Convoy by C.W. McCall. Bill Fries spent his professional life as an art director at an advertising agency in Omaha, Nebraska. He was not a musician. In 1974, while developing a campaign for a regional bread company, he created a fictional truck driver named C.W. McCall and recorded a series of radio commercials using the character.
Hammer down. We got a little convoy rocking through the night. Yeah, we got.
The ads developed a following, so Fries recorded a full novelty song built around the CB radio slang culture sweeping American highways. Convoy hit number 1 on the country chart in December 1975 and crossed over to top the Billboard Hot 100 in January 1976, one of very few songs in history to achieve that double. It charted internationally across multiple countries. A Hollywood film based entirely on the song arrived in 1978, directed by Sam Peckinpah and starring Chris Christopherson. Bill Fries, an advertising art director who never set out to make a record, had accidentally written one of the defining pop culture moments of the entire decade.
Ain't she a beautiful sight? Come on, join our convoy. Ain't nothing gonna get in our way. We go